It's all in one piece.
You came nothing? You're braver than I thought.
Nice, come on.
Welcome back to X-Wing Miniatures Theory Crafting with ya boy, Genghis John. On this episode, we are going full Vive la Resistance, looking at Kazuda Xiono of the Resistance in the Fireball. Now, I've only recently acquired the Resistance faction, and I was immediately attracted to this ship, as its mechanics are unlike anything we've seen in the game before. Two things every ship hates most are crits and stress tokens, but Kaz doesn't mind either of those. So without further ado, let's check out the Fireball chassis. Okay, we've got an attack value of 2, an agility value of 2, 6 hull, but not really, more on that later, and an action bar featuring focus, evade, barrel roll, and slam. You don't see slam every day, especially on a small ship. There are lots of upgrade slots, including Astromech, 2 modification slots, Illicit, Missile, a title, and Kazuda has an EPT slot. So this is a highly customizable ship, and we'll be using a good number of upgrades today. As far as the dial goes, there are 5 total red maneuvers, only 2 of which turn you around the Talon roll, meaning you are likely to pick up stress. Kazuda Xiono comes in at 40 points, and his ability is spectacular, so long as you don't take too much damage. While you defend or perform a primary attack, if the enemy ship's initiative is higher than the number of damage cards you have, you may roll 1 additional die. So this really boosts the effectiveness of the ship if you can keep your damage count low, which is, of course, is the whole trick of the game, taking less damage than you put out. The chassis also has a built-in ship ability called Explosion with Wings, which says you are dealt 1 face-down damage card. After you perform a slam action, you may expose 1 damage card to remove 1 disarm token. So you start the game with a face-down damage card, hence your health is really only 5, not 6, and can expose that face down, or another one later in the game, to get your pew-pews after performing a slam action. The slam and shoot is sort of the trademark of the Empire's Alpha class Starwing fighters, but now it allows Kaz to ambush the enemy, takes his movement, then slams into position to flank the target without sacrificing his ability to shoot. So to enhance the ability of Explosion with Wings, the first upgrade I recommend is the Kaz's Fireball title. Only costs 2 points, which lets you pick a damage card with the ship trait. This is an ability that you can turn into a major advantage, which we'll talk about in a little bit. There's also the Illicit Coaxium Hyperfuel upgrade for also only 2 points. It reads, you can perform the slam action even while stressed. If you do, you suffer 1 critical damage unless you expose 1 of your damage cards. After you partially execute a maneuver, you may expose 1 of your damage cards or suffer 1 critical damage to perform the slam action. This upgrade isn't a must include by any means, but at just 2 points, it just opens up the Fireball's maneuverability so much, because when you wouldn't be able to slam from either being stressed or getting blocked, now you can. Of course, this and Explosion with Wings both come at the cost of exposing damage cards or taking critical damage, but the next upgrade mitigates this drawback. R1J5, coming in at 6 points and 3 non-recurring charges, reads, while you have 2 or fewer stress tokens. You can perform actions on damage cards even while stressed. After you repair a damage card with the ship trait, you may spend 1 charge to repair that card again. This is a must include because it is such an incredible pairing with the Fireball chassis. You can perform crit actions while stressed, so Kaz doesn't mind the 5 red maneuvers, and after you flip it over, you can repair it again, discarding the damage card as if you never suffered it. Kaz is basically Jedi regen on roids, because you don't have to take a disarm token to recover your health. But with 3 charges, that is potentially 3 health that you can recover over the course of a game. And seeing you can do it even when stressed, there is a high probability you will actually get the chance to use all 3 charges. As far as other upgrades go, Heroic is only 1 point and totally worth saving you in the event of a complete blank out. And I would also consider Shield Upgrade if you have nothing better to do with the points, to compensate for the auto damage from Explosion with Wings, and to keep the damage card count low for Kaz's ability to last as long as possible. Let's talk obstacle choices. Since this ship doesn't care as much about stress or crits as much as other ships in the game, consider debris clouds to ruin your opponent's day. You still don't want to go over them yourself, but you can live with it if you do, and your opponent is going to have a rougher time with it, multiplying your advantage. Another choice to be made is the damage card you want to pick in resolving Explosion with Wings. There are a couple strategies that abuse this seeming weakness in the chassis. The first would be to take Hull Breach, since your damage cards need to be exposed to repair them with R1J5 anyways. Taking Damage Sensor Array wouldn't be a horrible choice either, but it does take away your ability to slam as long as it is flipped. Another strategy entirely would be to pull a really nasty crit, something like Console Fire, Weapons Failure, or Loose Stabilizer, and then turn 1, use your action to slam and expose the card the first round. Then repair the card the next round, pulling the crit out of the pool for the rest of the game. Do some thinking about what crits hurt your list the most, and consider using that strategy to reduce the risk of pulling it at a suboptimal time during the game. Let's talk about Kaz squads. This first one treats Kaz like an ace. He moves around the board quickly and unpredictably with Slam, and is rolling extra dice compared to your average Joe Fireball pilot because Kaz is awesome. Nien Numb is really solid for the price. R5X3 lets him move with impunity. Spare Parts Canister lets him use R5X3 a bonus time, or breaks locks when the enemy tries to gun him down. And Heroic, of course, as is tradition. And if you're going to fly Resistance Aces, you're doing it wrong if you don't bring Poe Dameron. And there's many different ways you can load him out. I like the idea of having HLC on an Initiative 6 pilot who can possibly double reposition into Bullseye Arc. The thing is, there's probably an upgrade on each of these pilots you can swap out based on flavor preferences. Pattern Analyzer is probably actually a better fit for Nien, for example. Poe certainly doesn't need HLC to be good. So yeah, a lot of this is up to you, but this gives you an idea of what all fits when you bring Kaz loaded out like an ace. This list as is only 2 cards off from being Hyperspace legal, Shield Upgrade, and HLC. So this can be easily modified for Hyperspace play. The next couple lists try to take advantage of Kaz's maneuverability while compensating for his mid-tier initiative value at 4 by pairing him with V Maradi in the transport pod. So Kaz looks exactly the same as discussed earlier, but the rest of the list is completely different. The centerpiece is V Maradi flying in the Resistance Transport Pod. Base cost of 27 points, so a cheap addition with an incredible ability. She assigns compromising intel to an enemy ship, which reads, during the system phase, if the enemy V Maradi is at range 0 to 3, flip your dial face up. While you defend or perform an attack against the enemy V Maradi, you cannot spend focus tokens. So her ability is a baked-in informant, but better, increasing the range to 0 to 3. Informant, in principle, is a good upgrade, but rarely are you willing to sacrifice 5 points and a crew slot for it. The second part of the ability is also a nice little defensive boost against whoever V has compromised, likely an agile ace or sort of the linchpin to a swarm. We add Pattern Analyzer to compensate for the 6 reds on her dial, and that's all she really needs. We want to take advantage of perfect information with as many ships as possible. So the rest of the list comprises of 3 speedy, maneuverable Blue Squadron A-Wings. At Initiative 1, they are perfect at blocking and will know where their arc needs to be pointed when the engagement gets close. Heroic for the win again at 1 point a pop, and the ion missiles just are there to give the Blues a 3 dice attack with an added control element. Set Kaz up to chase down an enemy overwhelmed by a swarm of A-Wings buzzing around. He will know when and where to slam with V's compromising intel. Instead of a mess of A-Wings, this resistant salad featuring Jess and Bastion benefits more from flying in formation and concentrating their firepower, and Kaz can fly in formation with them and break off after first engagement or attack the enemy's flank on his own, fed information from V on the primary target's movements. Jess Pava will get 2 rerolls flying close to V and Bastion, and Lieutenant Bastion can either make an enemy attacker reroll a die or give an offensive reroll to a friend, or both if you do it right, with his ability paired with M9G8. I frickin' love M9G8. Your opponent will be likely inclined to shoot at the cheap, flimsy V to knock off compromising intel, or the more points-heavy targets, Jess and Bastion, making Kaz a good late-game ship if he takes little damage in the early engagements. Kazuda Xiono 101, class dismissed. Thanks for watching, and please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying our content. Tell me about Kazuda builds you like to fly in the comments. Next time on X-Wing Miniatures Theorycrafting, we'll look at Muse, the First Order's Epsilon leader. See you there. This is Genghis John, signing off.